Welcome to Fandora's Box. This is the podcast where we talk about our favorite fandoms in terms of our thoughts, theories, opinions. We like to do a little production analysis as well as story dissection. My name is Tyler Gardner, and I am joined, as always, by my friend and co-host, Christian Almonte.
Okay, I can go flip shit. Hello, everybody. How are we doing?
I'm sure we're good. So, last time we...
You're speaking for our audience.
yeah. We gotta get like a laugh track and stuff.
Yeah.
Last time, Christian was bringing us through a game called Kenshi, which is a single-player open-world RPG, which is only right now available on PC. The last time we talked about mechanics, we talked a little bit about the map, how the game's set up, and a tiny bit of some different factions and a little bit of lore that we might have going on. And that's where we'll be starting off this time. Christian will be continuing bringing us on that journey. So Christian, whenever you're ready.
That was a very good recap, my friend.
Thank you.
So what I'm going to go into to begin with, before I get into the lore, because I really do want to get into the lore, because the lore of Kenshi is fucking fantastic, which I never was able to really understand on my own. It really was one of those situations where, you know, the Kenshi community and everybody else, they mastermind that with, you know, that whole beautiful diagram where you got the red lines connecting to a bunch of different pictures.
Oh yeah, all the pictures on the corkboard with the red string tying
exactly.
into.
They like culminated it all into one nice package that I could understand. And,
yeah, because now from
everything really added up and everything made sense then.
So from what you were saying before, with how the lore is set up in the game, is like you said, it's not thrown in your face in a fucking slide. You actually have no idea unless you actually go and look for it. And like you have to look for it like you would in the Dark Souls games or even zombies, like Call of Duty Zombies. There's like lore behind it, but you actually have to like, you know, piece it together.
Yeah, like when you're at the mystery box, you don't have any idea.
You're worried about zombies.
Yeah, what the fuck is 115? You know?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a fucking great parallel, my friend. So let's see. So I'm gonna go into the races, but real quick, I'll go into the lore. Don't you worry.
So where are we? What is this Kenshi world? Is it called a world? Like, is there a name? Like we have, you know, Planet Earth, or, you know, there's Tamriel and Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
Where the fuck are we?
As far as I know, the continent does not have a name.
Okay, so it just starts and stays
as far as I know.
one big ass continent.
Yep, the continent of Kenshi. This continent is thousands of years old.
Okay.
Like at least thousands of years in terms of its earliest recorded history. Some of these races didn't even exist in the early ages of Kenshi. So right now, let's go into the races real quick, just so we have a nice little staple so we can build upon it. Lay my foundation real quick. Let's go over to, let's work with these pictures real quick. I'll pause you on one that I think will be nice. I labeled them as such. We got a few to work with. Keep going. Want to start with the Hiver? Let's start with the Hivers.
It says Kenshi Hiver race, so
yes,
sir. Appropriate.
Zoom in on them boys. Yeah.
These are all one race.
Yeah, and then next to it you can see them in person. That's kind of funny.
Oh.
Yeah. Go back over there.
They look like
zoom in.
ricotta's.
Yeah. That's a reference for you Star Wars people out there. Damn.
Bring it all in.
I know, really. This is Fandora's Box for
together.
A fucking reason.
Yeah, we talk about everything.
Yeah, y'all think we don't know.
All at once.
All right, so the Kenshi Hiver race. So, Hivers are a bit of a mystery. I'm not going to go into them on this podcast too much. That might be for a future episode if people are interested enough. But the Hivers are their own kind of mystery kind of force. Basically, they're insects.
Okay.
They're human insects. Some people theorize that they're aliens that literally landed years and years ago, and then just took root underneath the underground. The cool part about Kenshi Hivers is that they have very much like an ant farm. Like, you know how like there's always a queen for bees, there's a queen for ants.
The queen.
You never see the queen in Kenshi.
At all.
No matter what hive it is, you never see it.
But they talk about her?
She's like a central role, because they all serve the queen, but you never see her once.
Well, how are they serving her? Do they go into it? Like, what are they doing?
It's like a hive mind, man. It's like the worker bees do their own thing.
I'm interested. I wonder if there is a queen.
Nobody's
come across it.
Yeah, there is a queen, man.
But nobody's come across it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, is it like a tree falls in the woods? Does anyone hear it? That kind of thing.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, man. So what we have in front of us are the three different types, color coded in a weird way, but that's fine. On our far left,
this guy?
Yep, he's considered the worker hiver.
I don't even know how to describe what the fuck he looks like.
Yeah,
He
it's
looks
very tough.
Kind of like a robot.
For those at home, you might need to look it up because look up Beep.
He looks like an exclamation point, but then he has a little circle.
Actually, if you want to look up Kenshi Beep, one of the most beloved and popular characters in Kenshi.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, Kenshi Beep.
Kenshi Beep.
Like beep.
Beep.
Okay. Kenshi Beep.
Kenshi Beep. He is the most
Emojis.
beloved character in Kenshi.
This is a person, or this is a
sub-races
of a hiver?
I guess you could call it a person. He's a hiver. His name is Beep.
I am Beep.
He is Beep.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So he's a sub-race of these hivers?
Yes, he's a sub-race of the hivers. So all the hivers that you meet that aren't like part of a hive specifically, like say the northern hives or the distant hives, they are all considered hiveless.
Beep.
Yes, his name is Beep. So he finds you in the town of Mongrel. This little guy named Beep. He's this scrawny little dude.
Look at his stats; they're all 1.
Yeah, he's terrible, but he's fucking adorable, and everyone loves him because literally he just comes up to you and just says beep a bunch.
Beep will also beep when reloading saves. Beep's name is strange due to the fact that hivers choose their names based on the first thing they see.
So yeah, exactly. That's why his name is fucking weird.
Beep is one of the few characters whose dialogue is written by the famous Chris Hunt.
He
does have a fucking name like Smith. Hunt? Oh my god.
Yeah, he literally just beeps, dude. And the guy, his main goal is because he loves the skeletons. He wants to have like all artificial limbs. So like as he like progressively loses limbs and you replace them with like cybernetic parts, he gets so fucking happy. He'd be like, I am Cyber Beep now. Yeah, he's a beloved character, but Beep is a worker drone. Hive worker drone, perfect. So the worker drones, they are very meager. They don't have particularly high stats. Their limbs are weaker than the average human's limbs. They easily fly off. They're like. Have you ever like? It's gonna sound a little gross, but have you ever like had an insect or whatever, and you pick it up and you accidentally rip off one of their arms?
No, because I'm not sadistic like that, you fucking weirdo.
No, but like if you're grabbing like a body part of them, and they're all frail and like.
Okay, Christian.
They pop
what
off.
Fucking bug are you picking up by just the body parts?
I don't know, like a dead insect or whatever.
Yeah, well, I don't.
Look, man, I've been 27 years. It probably happened. What you want?
Listen, you live your life one way. I personally don't.
All right, well, regardless.
I can understand what you're saying, like how a cockroach's leg could fall off, but no, I don't personally have an experience of me picking up a dead bug by the limbs.
Oh, hey, you can check it right there, actually. They have only, so
Their stats?
The average human being has 100% total health of their leg. The worker drones only have 75 for the vast majority, except for their head.
Oh, so that goes into the mechanics.
So yeah, their legs will fly off fast as shit, and they can get replaced. Luckily, and they're famous for making these cheap ass fucking replacement parts. So the hivers are known for being like cheap con men, essentially. So they will try and con you out of their stuff. They're like Jawas a little bit.
Yeah.
Like that. And so that's the worker hiver.
Okay.
Let's go back to the picture, right? We'll get the other hivers. I love how much fan art is for Beep. Beep's on a t-shirt, but that's how popular he is, by the way. On the official store. In the middle, you have the soldier hiver.
And he looks like a hammerhead shark.
Yeah, he is.
Or a ricotta.
Those guys are tough as shit. They have stronger limbs than average.
What was he called? A hiver what?
Soldier drone. So they're all drones. The soldier drone is the kind of, he's the muscle of the group. You see it oftentimes in.
Oh, you had a picture of these? Wow.
Yeah, if you go to the picture, actually, that's a good point. So this picture right here, which Tyler is
attempting to.
You can see how all the guards, they're all soldiers. They're all soldier drones. Because they're all tough as
For your eyes only.
Yeah. By the way, so in the 500 hour, I'm going to reiterate this, but I've played this game for around 500 hours, and I have never made it deep into the southern hives in all that time because of how fucking tough the soldier drones are from that region.
Now going back really quick to when you start, can you pick a race as for your character?
Yeah, in most situations. There are certain situations where you're constrained to one race.
Depending
say that you're picking the
Holy Order? Because they're racist as fuck.
Yeah. Well, there is one start that's basically like you're a lost drone, so you have to be a hiver of sorts.
But do you get to pick which kind of drone you are? Worker, soldier? Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So they are the tough guys. There's not much else to say about that.
Okay.
Then the next one is the kind of the most interesting one, which you see on the far right there.
And this dude looks almost exactly like fucking K-29 or whatever from Rogue One.
Yeah, they're not usually blue though. This is a Fogman if that you're using as an example. But he is called the Prince. So the Queen doesn't really give out direct commands to people. So the princes,
she has these liaisons.
Yeah, the princes are kind of the
messengers,
the highest up that you'll ever see in the hive outside of the wherever the hive is supposed.
So we have workers, soldiers, and then princes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
By the way, if you cut off a fog prince's head in the foglands, that's worth like 4,000 cats.
The head?
Yeah.
That's a lot of cats.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking cash, man.
Fucking litter.
If you risk it though, because the foglands are no fucking joke. Because if they catch you, they eat you. And that's a painful way to go.
And then you die.
Yeah, and you can't. The worst part is it's like mostly a text-based game, so you just see all these like screams like max in like full caps, like in front of you.
Scream with
like
asterisk.
somehow this is worse.
Yeah, I'd rather just hear it.
I know. I'd rather just hear it than like have to read these horrible anguished screams. But anyway, those are the hivers. So the hive race, very mysterious. No one really knows where the fuck they came from. Some people think that they're aliens. Some people think that they were deep in hibernation underground, kind of like
you mean
cicadas, or well, not cicadas. What do you call them?
Cicadas.
Cicadas, like when they're underground for like 14 years or whatever, and they come back up. They think it's similar to that. So there's a lot of different theories. But point being, they're around. For the most part, you have only a couple civilized areas. If you go to the map, actually.
Oh, yep.
But go to the faction map, actually.
Faction map.
Yeah, we have 2 different types of maps. Because I came prepared today.
First time for everything.
Yeah, check it out. So this is actually, you can see
the Empire.
Yeah, that's the United Cities.
Oh, I see right here. Southern Hive.
So the Southern Hive, that's the toughest hive. We don't fuck with that. And
okay, Western Hive.
The Queen also has a town there. I've never visited it.
Queenstown.
Yeah.
Says it right there.
If you go up north, there's also a Western Hive there.
Yep.
In the blue. Yep. So there's hives all over the place. Also, if you go all the way the fuck up north, where that big red Cannibal Plains is, you go zoom in really close up there.
Where am I zooming in towards?
Yeah, right around Dead Cat, that area. So there's actually hidden hives over there, believe it or not.
I believe it.
They're called the Lost Hives or whatever. They're not impressive or anything. It's just cool to know.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all over the place somehow, despite the fact that no one knows where they came from. So those are the guys on one of the races. And now we're going to go into some of the other ones.
Okay. Do we have?
We have imagery. Don't go to them, the skin bandits. We'll talk about them later.
Okay.
Let's see. Keep going. Yep, there you go. That's the Shek. So the Shek, motherfucking horn boys. I never knew this, but the lore on them is so fucking deep. These guys used to be humans once. Which is wild.
And those are horns coming out of their fucking heads.
Yep. They're also tall as shit. They're like 7 feet tall.
Okay.
These guys have. I mentioned this a little bit briefly earlier.
It's funny how you mentioned they were like Klingons because they do kind of resemble Klingons.
They're very Klingon-like, very warrior-based. They consider humans to be. They call us flatskins. So they consider us flatskins. They consider us delicate. They don't think us as warriors. They're pretty racist themselves. They are very much about battle. So sometimes literally you'll be walking around in Kenshi, trying to mind your own business. Then out of nowhere, like a group of Shek will be like, dude, fucking, we're gonna fight you, and you're like, what the fuck did I do?
Why?
So I don't know you. They'll literally just jump you, and they won't like steal your shit or anything.
They'll just beat the shit.
They'll beat the shit out of you and then just leave.
Damn.
Yeah, they're pretty tough, man. They have a lot of history with the Holy Nation. The Holy Nation considers them like beasts, like bestiality kind of thing. The Holy Nation consider their god Okrin to have saved them from the bestiality of the Shek. Because remember, they were all humans at one point. So like,
until somebody fucked a goat.
Yeah, well, the Holy Nation's fucking weird, man. That's literally a quote. I'm not just making that word up. The Shek are also very based on like honor and pride. Mm-hmm. So if their horns get removed, they consider basically outcasts. Mm. They've lost their honor. Yeah. So basically, you can find a bunch of Shek. like in cities or towns that like don't have horns anymore, and you can be like, dude, they're like, dude, I can't be in my civilization anymore. Can you take me in, dude? I'll be a warrior for you. I need to gain my honor back because I've lost it. That kind of thing. It's like how in Game of Thrones, the dudes that lose their ponytails, Khal Drogo or whatever.
Oh, the Dothraki.
The Dothraki.
Oh yeah, I don't know too much about it, so I didn't know that was a thing for them. Sure.
Yeah, that was his big thing. It's like they cut their hair off every time they lose a battle, and Khal Drogo's was like all the way down to his butt or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Because he like hasn't lost a fight. But yeah, no, that's the similar part to them. I don't really fuck with them too much. They kind of are one dimensional to me. Plus they're a little bit annoying, but they're kind of they're funny in their own.
It's just like it's the same conversation.
Yeah, every time. Yeah.
Are we fighting or something?
Yeah, it's cool when you have a bunch of different races in your party though, because they all talk to each other like for certain things. So like if it's a skeleton, he'll reference like the ancient days, or if it's like a Shek, he'll be like, they always say too, like That's like or whatever. That's like like they just grunt. It's kind of funny. Let's get on to the humans and the skeletons. Oh yeah, there we go. Those are Greenlanders. So if you look in.
You say Greenlanders?
Yeah. So isn't that crazy? What do they look like?
Humans.
Isn't that wild? So the Greenlanders are the conventional human beings. Okay. The Greenlanders
got some bust, dude.
The Greenlanders are conventional humans.
Look at those pixels. Oh man. It's some Minecraft.
No,
Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. So the humans, they're.
Hold on.
The Greenlanders are conventional humans, and they okay. Simmer down over here.
There's nothing over there.
They are conventional human beings, just like you and me. No. But they go from a bunch of different.
So humans are called Greenlanders.
Yes, but they have different shades. So you got. All the way to white, all the way to what we consider black, which is what I'm going to go into. That whole color spectrum is all still considered to be part of the Greenlander.
Okay.
Now, if you go over here, we're going to try and go immediately to the Scorchlander, which you will see. I have plenty of pictures of because Scorchlander is my favorite race. Yeah, there you go. These are all Scorchlanders right here.
Why did you have me go past this?
No, because I thought I had a more clear image.
Oh, okay.
So when we in modern day American society, we consider, I don't know why, because, English is a funny language, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
But we consider people that are like African and all that stuff, we consider them black.
Yeah.
But they're not black. They're darker shades of brown.
Yeah, sure.
Scorchlanders, on the other hand, in Kenshi, they are actually black. Like, they are the color of ash. They're my favorite fucking race. They completely black. They're amazing at stealth. They have glowing eyes and they have like silver hair.
Okay.
They're very cool to look at, and they're also amazing with dexterity. So because they're pretty slender, they're also pretty small.
Mm-hmm.
They have a plus like 10 or 20% modifier to learning how to dodge. So they make great martial artists. If you see like a whole squad of these people, like this is one of my original squads, by the way. The martial squad, they like all were martial artists, and they would just all come in with flying kicks like at once, and it would be like the coolest fucking shit. It's like seeing like a sequence of fucking like ape-men's like come out of nowhere and just wreck people.
I'm about it, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the most fun things.
Ninja team.
But yeah, I love the Scorchlanders. They're also incredible blacksmiths. They're good. They're good with crafting and all that stuff. The only thing they're not good at is they're not particularly strong. So you have to train them in strength a little bit more than you would have to do for like a Shek. Like the Shek, they learn.
I feel like the Shek are strong.
They learn strength automatically. It's like literally, you can literally like carry like a rock for 2 seconds and suddenly it's like, and you're like, what the fuck? But these guys, it's like they're naturally weaker. So if you wanted to make them strong,
they have to carry at least 2 rocks.
Yeah, you have to carry full on like people on your back, like across the desert. Scorchlanders are fire. I love them. They're also. In the game, they're considered, like, lore-wise, not just stat-wise, but they're considered, like, fun drinking buddies, and they're like, really outgoing and charismatic. Okay. So, that's the other variation of humans. There's only 2 variations of humans. There's Scorchlanders and Greenlanders. Now, you might think because the Holy Nation is racist towards everybody, right? You might think that they would be able to get out of it because they're humans. Nah, they're still racist to them. They consider the Scorchlanders darkened ones, like
So
evil.
the Holy Lands are a different race?
The Holy Nation.
Holy Nation's a different race?
No, it's a nation.
Of what?
The Holy Nation consists of all Greenlanders.
Okay.
So all Greenlanders, and they're racist and sexist towards everybody. So really, it's only Greenlander males. So anyone that's considered our human pigments that are
So
like
who's ever not like a middle upper class white guy,
male, yeah,
property owning.
yeah, exactly. So
It's just a bunch of boomers.
but I mean, they could. I mean, I guess Greenlanders also would be considered black as well. But still, they hate the Scorchlanders because the Scorchlanders are like Narcos influence because I guess they're also kind of mutants in a way. But which I think is funny because they're not really evil, but they'll still jump you for being a Scorchlander. So really, if you wanted to work for the Holy Nation, you'd have to literally only be Greenlanders, and you'd have to have probably one guy in your party. Regardless, Scorchlanders are awesome, and that brings us to our final race, my friend.
Oh, it's not. So we have Sheks,
We have the Sheks, the Hivers, the Greenlanders, the Scorchlanders, and finally the Skeletons.
Skeletons.
The Skelly
I think there was a picture of a bunch of skeletons.
Yeah, I think so. Well, that's not the right skeletons.
Those are skeletons, though?
Yeah, not the right ones, though. Not the ones you want to be around.
Oh, okay. So they're a good skeletons.
Did I send it to you? I really hope I did. Oh, there we go. There you go. At the front right there. If you zoom in real close. So, the skeletons are ancient robots. Skeletons are really cool. Okay, maybe not that close.
No.
He's just zoomed in on the skeleton's thumb really intensely. So the skeletons are extremely cool. They're awesome. I love them. They're so unique to Kenshi. They're basically like these hydraulic, sentient robots that have been around for thousands and thousands of years. Ever since like, the first empire and even probably before them. And they are interesting because they're where most of the lore of Kenshi's comes from. Because they still have memories from all that time ago.
Oh, okay.
But they keep it secret from us, so you really only get like a few lines here and there. You get the most amount of lines if you play as a skeleton, because then your character will say some stuff.
Okay.
But if you say like you hadn't played as a skeleton character ever, you wouldn't know half the lore that there is out there. That's how like important skeletons are. They're also interesting because they are not made of flesh, so you have to have repair kits to heal them up.
Mm-hmm.
Which are incredibly expensive because no one makes skeletons anymore. They're like in permanent decline because of the post-apocalypse. No one makes these guys anymore. So it makes skeletons they have an advantage because they're incredibly tough. They're made of metal.
Do they need to eat?
They don't need to eat.
Okay.
So there's mad advantage. Exactly, that's a mad advantage in a survival game. The only issue, like I said,
They get
repair kits, and it's hard. They have to reboot and all that shit. But
so hold on, I gotta upgrade to Windows 11 before I
yeah,
continue playing it.
So collectively, I know that took a little bit to go into the races, but those are the races of Kenshi.
Yeah, we have the Hivers, we have the humans, which are called Greenlanders, and then there's a subvariant called the Scorchlanders. Shek.
From the Ashlands.
Shek and Skeletons.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Any questions about the races, my friend?
No, I think we're good.
Which is your favorite not to be racist? But this is literally asking the racist question. What's your favorite race?
I can tell you about my least. No, I'm kidding. Honestly, I think the Scorchlanders are pretty cool.
Yeah, they're fucking so sick. Because like when you have like an army of them, they look like fucking ninjas. They're flying all over.
But it's also like, yeah, they're ninjas. But then you're like, they're outgoing. That you can have a really fun drink.
Yeah.
That seems
they're chill
cool.
as shit.
Yeah.
Plus, they're one of the only nations that like, or not nations. There's not a definitive Scorchlander nation. But if you go back to the map real quick. There's one place.
Which map?
If you do get
there are multiple maps.
let's go to that one because that one's higher quality. Go all the way up to the north there.
Yep.
Similar to where I had you zoom in the last time, actually. Right by to Dead Cat there. That dark red.
This little tumor thing.
Yeah. That actually is where there's a bunch of it's magic. If you ever go there,
ninjas.
Yeah. They're actually tough as shit. And you can actually ally with them.
Nice.
One of the only factions you can ally with.
Nice.
Because they hate the Holy Nation just as much as you do. But The Dead Cats was actually a fishing town.
Dead cat.
Yeah, at least that area with the Scorchlanders up there, and it's really cool.
I just like how lazy these names are. Dead cat, World's End,
Mm-hmm.
Flotsam Ninjas,
Fast.
Cannibalia.
Yeah, I don't think Cannibalia is.
Where's the
Cannibalia is not a real thing.
And then like the Hivery of Queenstown.
Yeah, right. It's kind of funny. There's even more funnier ones than these ones actually. But that being said, if you ever wanted to do like an all Scorchlander build, they're kind of hard to come by because Scorchlanders are a bit more rare.
Mm.
But Dead Cat, I mean, that whole area is just not only is it swarming with cannibals, but there's a bunch of little Scorchlander huts that do. And you know the funniest part about the fact that they're fishermen? Guess how many fish types there are?
2 fish.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
two types of
that's
fish?
crazy. That was wild. Yeah, no, there's actually only 2 types of fish. There's the grand fish, and then there's the thin fish.
I thought you were saying like the ones that are alive and the ones who are dead.
No, that's hilarious. There's literally only the grand fish and the thin fish.
Nice.
There's also people. It's actually this. They make this. It's a hysterical. Like they make a point of saying this in the game. There's a third one called dry fish, and then like the description of it is contrary to popular belief, the dry fish is not a third type of fish, but simply a dried thin fish. And then they say the grand fish, like the description of grand.
Contrary to popular.
Yeah, no. And the description of grand fish is the grand fish, the king of all the fish, that being 2 fish.
Yeah.
So it's like the king, the master.
In charge, or you're not in charge.
Yeah, you're the master of the kingdom of 2. Yeah, so.
Very diverse.
Yeah, I agree, my friend. Scorchlanders are pretty fire. So.
It's in the name.
Can you summarize for me the our situation with the map and the nations and so far? What's your understanding?
So my understanding is that there's a map that's 313 something miles long?
335 and a half.
335 and a half, 800 something kilometers.
Square miles.
Square mileage. So we're talking a decent sized area.
Shonky boy.
In this area, we don't have defined nations, quote unquote, but we have different kind of civilizations. We have the Holy Order, right?
Holy Nation.
Holy Nation.
Very
I'm
close,
going to
very
continue to say it wrong this entire time. The Holy Nation. Then we also have these hives, which are where the hivers come from.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the Shek Kingdom. And
Mm-hmm.
then that place called the Empire. I think he said there was something else. It was called
United Cities. Yeah.
United Cities. And then we talked a little about the races, which again are humans called Greenlanders with the subvariant, the Scorchlanders, who are fucking cool.
They're sick as shit.
Sick as. And then we have the Hivers, which are little insectoids. Nobody's quite sure where they came from.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the Sheks, which are Klingons.
That's how I describe them, honestly.
And what else am I missing? What am I missing?
Skellymans.
Skellies, yeah, which are robots, ancient as fuck robots, which have their advantages and disadvantages, which is a well-rounded game.
Quite so.
Yeah, we didn't go too much into the actual lore, so I think that's all I'm aware of right now. I'm sure I might have forgotten a little tidbit here or there. But
No,
I know
very true.
from what you said and what you've avoided saying, there seems to have been some sort of apocalyptic event that changed the whole landscape.
Very true, very true.
Okay.
Because if you go through the pictures real quick, you don't have to pause too much, but you'll see some crazy shit. Like, I'll show you the beak things, which are the most infamous of Kenshi enemies. So go back a little bit. Oh, you went too fast.
Oh, it's
You went too fast. Yeah, those guys. These are the creepy
They look
ass.
like dinosaurs.
They're disgusting and terrifying.
Damn.
You notice they barely have any eyes. They're literally just called beak things. Sometimes their official name is gutters, but all of humanity. All of humanity and all of the people, they just call them beak things.
Okay.
One of the characters, there's actually a dialogue which is pretty funny. If you have a group of people, and they'll be like, "This is where the gutters roam," and they're like, "What the fuck is a gutter?" And then like one of the characters will be like, "He means beak things." So yeah, these guys horrible, the worst. They are.
I mean, it's just like a wild animal, right?
If you want to call them that, sure.
Well, a wild beast.
Yeah, they will eat you alive.
Nice.
If you go to one to the right, that's how big an elder gets. That thing at its foot is a dog.
That thing?
Yeah, it's a bone dog.
That's a dead dog.
Yeah, no, he's fucked.
Yeah, these things are dinosaurs.
Yeah, and if you check that, look at those stats. Look at those stats in the lower left.
Lower left. These things?
Look how much health.
Oh, that's this thing?
Yeah.
Tells you everything? Tells you its hunger? Tells you how hungry it is?
Yeah. has fucking an elder big thing with 72 attack, 66.
Does that other picture show the stats for a normal beak thing? Is this a stat for a normal beak thing?
No.
Is that your character?
That's my character, yeah.
Damn.
I didn't get that specific. But big things are like the most, one of the nightmares of everybody. Because they're incredibly hard to kill. They come in packs. They are one of the only creatures in the game that can outrun you even at maximum like speed.
Damn.
Like you can be like cruising at like 27, 30 miles an hour running speed, and these guys will catch up to you in 2 seconds.
So what do? You just die when you see them?
You basically just die, yeah.
Cool.
Unless you get strong enough, in which case you can fight them. But they'll rip your legs off. They'll do all this shit.
I think if I play this game, that'll be my goal. Is just to create a character that only fights big things.
You would rip your hair out and then you'd be very happy.
I'll call myself the Beak King.
Dude, fucking fire, do it, man. But yeah, no, the beak things. As anybody, whoever's played Kenshi listening to this podcast knows that beak things are just the bane of our existence.
Excellent.
There is a silver lining with that. By the way, that place they called Gut that you were laughing at earlier.
That's where they roam.
That's
their territory.
It's awful. It's literally all beak things. Like literally, you can't walk like 2 feet without a beak thing, and you have to like sneak the whole time. By the way, spoiler alert to anybody who cares. They might not care, but there's a lot of infamous criminals that you can hunt down for bounty hunting.
Sure.
One of the most infamous criminals literally hides in the center of Gut. I don't know how the fuck he's doing it.
Carefully.
I was gonna say, like, even when I visited him, because here's the thing, you don't vacation in Gut. You don't set up a shop in Gut. You literally go there if you're running from slavers or anything else. You just run through there, right? And so that was what I was doing. I was sprinting through there. And I literally am sprinting my ass off, and literally this one Scorch Lantern dude, just sitting down on an island in the middle of Gut, and I'm like, who the fuck is this? And I click on his name, and he's like one of the most infamous criminals with tens of thousands of dollars on his head, literally just chilling there. I'm like, this is a perfect hiding spot of all time.
Yeah.
No one in their right mind would look for someone in here.
Yeah.
I love that attention to detail in games, man.
Like, he's gonna be somewhere.
Yeah, he's gotta be somewhere.
How come he hasn't been caught? Well, we all know where he is.
I'm not going there.
Yeah, we're not going to fucking get him.
Like, I had I had high level characters at that point, and even then I was like, I'm not going there.
No.
But one of the advantages of beak things, though, if you manage to go to their, so they're like,
what?
They lay
a lot of money.
They lay eggs and shit, and those eggs to like nobles, they'll pay like $4,000 per egg. So if you grab a couple of those, you're like set.
Nice.
Yeah. So sometimes I'll do that. Like I'll just maximize sneak, so I don't even have to fight them, and I'll sneak in while they're sleeping, grab them,
Steal
and run
their
out.
children.
Yeah.
So take me through the lore. What is this? What is this place? Where do we find ourselves? Where would anybody find themselves?
Yeah, man. If y'all came here for the lore, y'all know what it is now.
Well.
Yeah, for this first episode, I'll probably only go into the details of the first the details of the first empire. You can go out to the map if you want, or really go into any slide. It really doesn't matter.
I love how small this picture is.
I know. I
So
did not realize that. It looked bigger on the computer. It's a beautiful map though. It shows you literally every single region. And it's cool because once you enter a region, it will just be like, it will flash on the screen with like a cool sound effect, like pretty sick.
Nice.
But the story of the First Empire, one of the hardest parts about Kenshi, like I mentioned earlier, is that they, not only is it a true kind of mystery game where like you really don't know anything about the lore, but the characters they don't make it easy for you. Like they're actively trying to hide the secrets. And so only like the young people, like the hivers who are like babies, and like the humans, they're the only ones that are like trying to actively uncover shit. Like, because the Shek don't give a fuck, because
whatever.
Who the fuck cares? They're not beating shit up. They don't care. They don't care about any of that shit. They'd rather be dying. The Holy Nation has been around since the Second Empire, but they started as a cult, so all of their knowledge is kind of warped and twisted.
Yeah.
To suit their narrative.
Sure.
The skeletons are few and far between, and they keep their mouths fucking shut. They don't talk about that shit, and I'll tell you why for a specific reason. Yeah. It's for a very good cause that they don't talk about it. Needless to say, let's just drop into it. So, the civilization, known only as the First Empire, called the Ancients, was many thousands of years ago, and there's very little information on it. Like, very, very little information on it. They were hyper advanced, so much so that based on the ruins, so you see, I wish I could show you like on a speed run tour of like Kenshi, because you walk around, you'll see like fucking giant skeletons, giant fucking metallic hands, like the size of the Empire State Building. Like it's a very like civilization rich area, and so they were hyper advanced, this first civilization, so much so that based on the ruins that players have found looking around, look like spacecraft. I mean, we don't know for sure, but there's theories that they were so advanced that they even had space travel. This is what the point where skeletons existed.
Okay.
We don't know much about the skeletons, because the skeletons were living with the humans, right?
Mm-hmm.
The original humans, back before the subvariants existed.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't know which occupy the higher caste in the First Order, or the First Empire, rather. Some people think that it's going to be, like, there's based on research in the fandom, that there's a likelihood that the skeletons occupy the role of Master Race. And there's a few quotes from characters agreeing with this. I consider this the more logical explanation, as well as a bunch of other people do. There are also quotes from characters stating the opposite. One of the quotes, which I'll circle back to in a second, but there's a quote from the skeleton player once you're playing as a skeleton and you enter obedience, which you see is if you go to that previously mentioned one with the arms sticking out.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very famous region called obedience, which my first time walking in there was so crazy because it comes out of nowhere. So basically,
like you're just chilling and all of a sudden you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, if you go to, I'm actually going to show you. If you go to the map real quick, that's the map that I wanted you to get. Go to the Fog Islands. So this whole area, you got the Holy Nation on this side,
mm-hmm.
and they set up kind of military installations and mines.
Yeah, like borders and
across
stuff.
Across this mountainous region here.
Sure.
And they don't proceed any further this way.
Okay.
And there's reason for that, because you know how fucking tough the Holy Nation are. They're badasses. For better or for worse. I hate them too, but they know what they're doing. But they don't enter the Fog Islands, which is a fucking terrifying. Like, don't play that at night, man. The Fog Islands, literally, you go in, unnatural, just like fucking Count Strahd, fog out of nowhere, and suddenly these fucking blue hivers in swarms of like 50, they'll try and beat you up, abduct whoever falls. So even if you didn't lose the battle, say like you're babysitting your little apprentice, right? You got like 3 level 50 dudes, they're wailing on these guys, they're doing fucking work, but your little level 2 apprentice, he gets knocked out. One of them will come in, swoop him up, and then run. And he will put them on a stake and they will eat him alive. And it's fucking terrifying. Okay. So no one goes to the Fog Islands. No one.
Have players explored the area?
Yeah, I have. And there's a spot in the Fog Islands, in the middle of the Fog Islands, called Mongrel. That's where you meet Beep, by the way.
Beep.
Mongrel is literally where criminals go when they don't want to be found. It's literally a town of just people that don't want to be found, don't want anybody knowing where they are, and they will all converge into
to get
Mongrel.
there, you have to go through.
Yeah, you have to go through hell, yeah. That's where this area is, but behind it, a little bit north, see that little square right there?
Yeah, but what the fuck is that square?
Yeah, north of the Fog Islands. If you continue exploring, if you're like crazy, didn't have enough of the Fog Islands and didn't have enough of everything else.
Weren't satisfied yet.
You weren't satisfied with all the death and destruction. You can creep even further back and go down into the ruins, and you find a place called Obedience, which is that picture that I showed you earlier.
With the arms, yeah.
With the arms. Obedience is incredibly important, and I had no idea. I was so mad because I literally looked up at the lore on this. I'm like, dude, I literally walked into Obedience like, there's nothing here, man. I thought that was going to be I'm like, is it going to be a final boss? Like, I see a bunch of big skeletons, and there was just like a couple skeletons walking around. I'm like, this is a letdown. But when you realize the significance of it, you're like, oh shit, this actually is massive.
So was there stuff to do there?
Not really.
Oh, damn.
That's the whole point. That's why I was shocked.
It's just a big lore spot?
I mean, there's a bunch of roaming skeletons that are high level, but other than fighting them, there's nothing there. There's no civilization, there's no ruins or anything like that. Well, actually, there are a couple ruins, but they're like mostly empty.
Mm.
It's really mostly just a lore thing. Once back to the role of whether or not the first civilization had skeletons in charge or if it had humans in charge.
Mm.
There's a quote saying, when you walk into Obedience, your skeleton player, if you're playing a skeleton, will say this, man became afraid of the destructive capabilities of its own creations. The personal opinion and the opinion of a lot of people was that humans were in charge after creating the skeletons before everything went to shit, which I'll go into a bit more later on. Right after the First Empire, we have the War of the Behemoths.
So the world of Kenshi started with the First Empire?
Yes, as we know it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then this happens.
Yeah.
Whatever you're about to talk about.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
It's still during the age of the First Empire, but this event.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that First Empire.
First Empire, this whole thing that I'm going to be talking about right now will be solely on the First Empire. The Second Empire is important as well, but I don't think we'll have time to get into it.
Okay.
So the First Empire rules just about all of Kenshi.
And this is the Empire. We're not sure it was like skeletons or whatever.
Yeah, we don't know. Skeletons and humans made up this empire, but we
Okay.
don't know who is in charge.
Okay.
I think it's the humans, because I think they created the
And they built
skeletons.
the skeletons.
Yeah. But basically, the First Empire goes to war against an unknown hostile foe. Literally, there's nothing.
And
in
that's
the entire
still
first game.
unknown.
Still to this day unknown.
Okay.
Maybe they'll reveal some of it in Kenshi 2, which takes place in the Second Empire, which will be really cool. I'm sure everyone's excited for the lore
So
of
that takes place before this game?
Yeah.
Okay.
It takes place before this Kenshi. It's a prequel. So there's a war. They don't know. It's like an unknown foe. We don't know anything about it. But whatever this foe is, it's tough as shit, and the First Empire is struggling. So the First Empire felt threatened enough that they created what's called the Behemoths. So the Behemoths are absolutely enormous skeletons that could, quote-unquote, tower over any and all other races. Even in modern Kenshi, when exploring around, you can find these giant skeletal arms sticking out of the grounds, massive joints and hands. It's kind of wild to come across, and for your character to show no reaction.
You never find like a full...
No, the behemoths don't exist anymore, which is crazy because like you will come. That's one of the coolest parts about Kenshi, man, is that you will. It's like such an exploration-based game. So you'll walk in like the middle of fucking nowhere, and there'll be like fucking either massive like rib cage bones, or there'll be like metallic like spaceship craft or whatever. Like it's
damn.
And your character doesn't blink an eye because they've been here for thousands of years. You know, it's not important to them anymore. It's like if we were walking around and seeing like a beach or a cave. It's like
yeah, the beach that was there.
Yeah, it's been here. It's nothing crazy. But the First Empire seems to have won the war with these behemoths on their side. However, things quickly took a turn for the worst, with many clues being given by the skeleton player characters when entering the zone known as Obedience, which will sound familiar because I used the quote earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So the full quote goes, after the war, the behemoths lost their purpose. Man became afraid of the destructive capabilities of their own creations. The irony is that it was their blind obedience and unquestioning loyalty that walked them down into that pit, entirely unresisting the price of obedience. What happened was, if you go back to Obedience, it might be best if we describe what we're looking at here too.
Yeah, so it looks like well, you said it's in the middle of the foglands, and that's very clear because of how foggy it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then is that snow on the ground?
No, it is not.
Okay, so it's got this weird white ground.
And guess what that white ground is, my friend?
Ash?
Metal.
Excellent. Okay, so it's a bunch of... Wait, what? Like refined metal?
Metal. So what happened was, in Obedience, we see all these hands and all these parts of these behemoths.
Yes, these huge-ass skeleton arms.
Yeah, which that's a person, by the way, next to it.
Yeah.
For comparatives.
Yep.
And what happened was, mankind was so afraid of the behemoth skeletons that they made, they ordered them all down into this pit and filled it entirely with metal. So that ground that you stand on is
a grave.
Yeah, and they call it Obedience for a reason. Because you have to remember, the skeletons aren't just robots; they're fully sentient.
Yeah.
So this was considered a massive betrayal from the humans.
Yeah, absolutely.
To literally just kill all of their war soldiers because they were afraid of what they could do.
Tale as old as time.
Yeah, man. So they just brought them in there all to be executed. There's an importance.
It's so fucked because like their arms are coming up and like, why?
Yeah, I know. Why have you done this to us?
Scar, help me.
Yeah, Scar, brother. It is really sad, honestly. And that's why you see a lot of skeletons still roaming around there. Like the little ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they're...
remembering.
They're remembering, yeah.
Remember who you
Remember. And I had no idea. That's why I was so mad, because you don't know these things, man.
Yeah.
You think you could do these things, but you just can't, Nemo. So literally, I would walk in after getting my ass handed to me in the Foglands, and then I make it down here. I'm like, wow, there's so much to explore. And literally, it's like a wall of fog, and as you walk forward, you just see these hands, and it's like such a fucking atmospheric situation where you don't know what's happening, because you've never seen any of these robots,
yeah.
and no one talks about it.
Well, I thought you
one
said
talks
like the
about it.
behemoths, you can see other traces of the behemoths in other areas?
Yeah,
of the
but
land?
nowhere near as concentrated as this.
Okay.
Like you might see like an arm somewhere else or
Are
something.
there actually that like a lot of hands?
In this graveyard?
Yeah.
Yeah, everywhere. It's like everywhere in this whole section.
Damn.
It's crazy to think about. After the destruction of the behemoths, through encasing the pit with solid metal, one behemoth basically pulls a bane and rises from that pit. And his name is.
You really adopt the metal.
Yeah, I know. It's like the pit in Batman. He just climbs up, and it's a behemoth named Stobe.
Stobe.
And Stobe is massively important for like the next thousands of years or whatever. And you actually can see it if you go to the map.
Yeah, I think there's something called Stobe.
Stobe's Gambit.
Yeah.
Is actually a region. I think it's the final resting place of Stobe. If you go down there, it's on the east side of the map. So yeah, Stobe's Gamble here, and then Stobe's Garden. They're all named after the behemoth named Stobe, who's very important, and I will tell you why. The fall of the First Empire. So there's a bunch of theories of the collapse. There are three major schools of thought.
Okay.
The first school of thought is that it was a natural disaster based off this
Now this collapse encompasses all civilization or just what?
the entire continent.
Okay.
The first one was a natural disaster.
Well, so just to clarify, so the first empire at the very beginning, that encompassed the whole land?
Oh yeah,
But the whole land was the first empire, and they were fighting some outside force?
Supposedly.
Okay.
We still have no idea what it was, but it was
Okay.
tough enough that that whole continent was fucking threatened by it.
Okay.
Natural disaster was the first theory from the fall of the First Empire. Based off of extreme destruction. That's one theory. I don't really buy that theory very much. Second was a super weapon of unknown origin that basically just crippled the whole continent. The third one is the one I believe, which is biological warfare.
Okay.
Like chemical weapons, biological weapons. It just ravished the nation.
Yeah, very Fallout.
Yeah,
Yes.
very Fallout style, and I think that it makes the most sense. But regardless of what it was, the motivation was apparent. Because who do you think caused this?
Caused this natural disaster?
Caused this extinction-wide
Well,
phenomenon.
So what I know, there could be potentially two parties. The first one is Stobe, after what happened, and the second one could have something to do with these holy nation fucks.
You're closer with Stowe, but
Skeletons?
there's a bit of a twist there. So what happens is, because remember the skeletons are fully sentient.
Yeah.
So when the humans
They kill all
destroy all their big brothers, basically, they say, you've served us well in this war, but we're gonna kill all of you right now.
Yeah, I can imagine, like, well, that's kind of
The skeletons are like,
the fuck?
the fuck is this? You just killed all our friends. So they get pissed.
Yeah, I believe him.
Like, beyond pissed.
Yeah.
And they basically go with an extinction-wide event where the goal was to kill humanity.
Yeah.
Like, literally murk humanity.
I don't think so.
Yeah, regardless of what it was, the motivation, was apparent. The skeletons attempted to wipe out humanity, a direct retaliation to what happened at Obedience. In the modern days, the skeletons don't want anyone knowing about this.
Yeah.
That's why that's one of the main reasons why the skeletons keep it complete secret in the game Kenshi.
Oh, like, by the way, we caused all
By
this.
the way, we tried to kill all of you. So yeah, they hide their guilt pretty intensely. And they barely even speak about it to other skeletons. Like
Did you say before that the skeletons kind of hung out in one specific area, like how everybody else, like the Sheks have their place? Do the skeletons have their place, or they just kind of all over?
Let's see if I can kind of put this all together. So if you look at the there's a spot called the Iron Valleys.
Okay,
Kind of in the center.
I see it right here.
Yeah, little north central. It's by the Ocaran's Pride.
It's right outside the Great Desert.
Yeah, and if you look up there, see how there's a bit of a mountain that's right above the Iron Valleys?
Yeah. I see the little mountain range.
So right beneath there, it's hard to see with that map, but beneath the bottom of that mountain and the start of the Iron Valleys, there's actually this kind of, I was gonna say this little sphincter, but but there's a little like,
asshole.
There's a little tiny passageway hole that leads over to the skim sands in the deserts on the eastern side. But there's a huge Holy Nation military installation there.
Okay.
Which is basically like a checkpoint. And it's very hard because the mountains are almost impassable. Like you can't go around the mountains, they're too high. And you can't really go into the Iron Valleys because it's a very hostile area.
Just for anybody?
It's constantly this constant lightning.
Okay.
It acid rains there. Very tough region.
Very inhospitable.
Yes, especially for those with living flesh.
Mm.
So
Which is most of us.
Which is quite a decent portion of ourselves. So you have to either kind of like sneak your way through or go all the way around onto the other side of the mountains, which is a bit of a fucking journey. That being said, though, the reason why the Holy Nation has not penetrated the Iron Valleys very well...
You're saying they haven't penetrated the sphincter?
They have not. They have not.
That joke was funny. The joke was mature. The joke was well thought out.
Okay, yes. Very
this is my best material. It's going on the top shelf.
Oh, man. But the...
It's kind of funny because you have a sphincter and then you have gut. Right above where the sphincter would be.
Wow. Man,
I'm done.
This podcast is taking a turn.
Quality.
Yes, quality.
The
reason why Oakland forces, the Holy Nation, has not been able to make it down there is because of how inhospitable it is. But not only that, the Iron Valleys also is home to some of the Skelly Men's deepest south. So if you see that little... God, it's so hard to see. The little region right there, that little blurb, it's called the Black Desert.
I see the gray desert. Oh, this one right here.
The Black Desert, yeah.
It almost looks like it's giving like the little pixelated profanity thing.
Which is weird too, because it's that's not where it is. I don't know why. That's the... See, this map maybe isn't as good as I thought it would be. It's more centralized.
Not only is it terrible quality, but it's inaccurate.
But the Black Desert City is where where a lot of the skeletons currently exist.
Okay.
And they still continue to forge materials. The Black Desert weapons are the best that you can get in the game.
Okay.
They're literally designed for each individual skeleton, but because, you know, of how skeletons die and get killed or whatever, it's inevitable that they end up in circulation. So to get a Black Desert like blade is incredible. Like that's
it's a fun.
Usually masterwork, high grade at the most, and you can fuck some shit up with that. If you're into the weaponry. If you're not into weaponry, don't go to Iron Valleys. You're just gonna get your feet handled with iron and all that shit, or handled with acid. It's not worth it. But that's where you asked where the skeletons are. That's where one of the major regions is.
Okay.
They also have they have a big roaming population of skeletons. There's also really funny if you go a little bit north. So see where the floodlands are? Above Obedience, up into the right.
Floodlands.
Yeah, the floodlands.
Sure.
The floodlands are actually almost entirely skeleton and ancient machines. They have ancient like spider machines, which are terrible to fight because they attack so fucking fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually the worst. Like, I know I mentioned that beak things and all those guys are the worst, which they are because they'll try and eat you. The ancient robots, the ancient mechanists or whatever you call them, the robot, those guys are actually, they're on par with how bad they are because this is literally how they attack, like every 2 seconds. 40 damage, 50 damage, 40 damage, and like you have only 100 hit points, so you literally just die like in 2 seconds.
Hits, yeah.
It's the worst. They hang out there, and you actually find one of my favorite fucking NPCs of all time chills out there. His name is Burn. He's an ancient skeleton, and the guy will literally hang out with you and become your ally if you just ask, because he's literally like, dude, I'm retiring. I'm just gonna chill here until I die. And they were like, yo, you wanna like come with us?
Wait, do skeletons die?
Not really. There's
degrade.
They can degrade. Their circuits can lose cohesion. Sometimes they just kill themselves. Yeah, it's pretty morbid, but there's actually a mass suicide, and we'll talk about that.
All right.
But yeah, sometimes they'll literally just chill here until the end of the circuits, because the reason why he went back to the Floodlands is because the Floodlands is their home.
Okay.
That's where the skeleton factories were.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the skeleton factories that made them were.
That sounds like the best place to find repair kits.
You would think so, but it's mostly flooded, hence the name, the Floodlands.
Less so.
Yeah, less help. If we had scuba gear, that would be awesome.
What I said, but less.
Yeah. But yeah, that's where you can find Burn in his tower. He literally has a tower in the middle of nowhere. And
the Tower of Burn.
And he literally just chills outside. He's not allied with the old machines though. The old machines have their circuits broke down. So I literally saw him one time. Recently, like in my last playthrough, I went over to his Burn's tower, and he was getting his ass fucking handed to him by one of those skeletons things. I'm like, if only you knew irony, because this is pretty hilarious.
Just watching it. Ironic.
Yeah, so the Floodlands, the Iron Valleys, the Black Desert, those are the main regions that you would find the skeletons. But the skeletons they're like just like any other race. They're kind of meshed all over the place, but they don't have an empire anymore. And they kind of have taken more of a pacifist approach. They don't invade nations anymore. They don't. Want
They just do their thing.
Yeah, they just do their thing. And a lot of the skeletons though are some of the toughest fighters on the planet. Because there are fighters like Catlon, who we'll talk about. He was a fucking legend. And then there's also Tin Fist, who's awesome. Tin Fist is a skeleton martial artist, and the guy frees slaves. So he hides in the Ashlands. I don't know if we have the Ashlands up there.
That name sounds familiar.
The
I've seen
Ashlands
it.
is south.
Right here, yeah.
But it's actually a little bit north of the Ash. So it's actually by Stove's Gamble's their hideout. So see that big volcano-looking thing beneath the Gamble? Yeah, that's literally where they are. Like almost precisely. They're in the mountains, and that's a horrible place to be, by the way, because it literally rains ashes. So it looks.
I'll have you know that you've said that about pretty much every specified location so far.
This
is terrible. You don't want to be here. This place sucks.
Well, you know, one of the toughest things about Kenshi is that they don't have like an easy, medium, or hard. It's just kind of all hard.
It just all sucks.
Yeah. There are some places that suck less, but they all mostly suck. Stove's Gamble's tough because they have land bats that will come and try and eat you. Which I think is hilarious because they don't fly. They look like bats, but they don't fly. They just crawl the whole time.
That's scarier.
Yeah. And they come in packs. They come in packs of like 10 to like 15. And they'll just come out of nowhere, man.
So
they also got the gorillas as well, which are, I don't mind gorillas because they're slow as shit, so you can outrun them easily. Like even if you're carrying somebody on your back, you can still outrun them.
So we've talked about the skeletons because we interrupted you before as you were gonna digress a little bit into this first empire. So
right.
Let me know what went on with this first empire. What happened to them? Where'd they go?
I know. I get so impassioned by Kenshi. I forget.
Absolutely fine.
Forget that I'm a lore whore and have to get into my lore.
But unfortunately, the fact of the matter is we have to edit this. So
yes, very true. All right, so going back to the first empire. So you know the War of the Behemoths, how that played out.
Oh yeah.
One behemoth survives.
Stove,
the legendary Stove, the coolest dude. He's a fucking G. I love Stove.
Nice. Is he still alive? Did you meet him?
He's dead.
Damn.
Yeah, no, he's been dead for some time.
Do you find him? Like, is he buried somewhere?
I think you can find Stove's remains in Stove's Gamble, I believe. And the fucking skeletons are emotional as shit, by the way. Like
emotional.
Yeah. So like there's like a whole conversation that your player character can have with the other skeleton player characters. And they'll be like, dude, you know, is this emotional for you? And then the other character's like, nah, man, skeletons, they don't cry. And the skeleton goes, dude, we're crying all the time.
They're literally crying right now.
Yeah, they're literally crying.
That makes me sad. So we have the first empire, which was the beginning of this whole game's Kenshi civilization. There was a war, which we're not sure who was fought against. We just know that
the War of the Behemoths.
Yes, these behemoths were created to combat
kill this foe. This unknown foe.
And after this foe was defeated,
humans became terrified about what they created because they created these monsters meant for only destruction. And they were like, we're going to get rid of them. We don't feel safe around them. We're going to kill them all. They sent them to a pit to die, filled that pit in.
And then one behemoth named Stove rose.
He left. Yeah, he didn't die.
It's like, nah.
Sorry. And so the skeletons got fucking pissed as shit. And they were like, you know what? Fuck the humans. We're killing them all off. None of you guys are pure. We're destroying you.
You're done. You're done. You hit the done button.
Once again, we got the 3 theories. So natural disaster as one theory. The super weapon potentially is a theory. Biological warfare, another theory, which makes sense because the skeletons aren't biological, so they wouldn't need to survive that way.
Right.
Which makes the most amount of sense to me. So it was all in retaliation against obedience. In modern days, the skeletons don't want anyone knowing about this. They barely even speak about it to other skeletons. It's been a hushed secret for centuries, if not millennia at this point. The reason is pretty understandable to hide.
They've been extinct for millennia.
Yeah, it's pretty hard because they literally set forth an extinction event. So
yeah,
that's pretty. I mean, you want to keep that a secret.
Talk about that so much.
We might have ended the Earth. You know, don't worry about that.
But that's behind us now.
But and there are certain things that like are still around that the skeletons use to kill people. There are things called the eyes, and these literally were things that like satellites that just shot lasers and just tore the place apart. Like literally. Beams, like miniature Death star beams like that just ravage the Earth.
Damn.
And you can find one of these things in the game,
And
it's really cool. No. If you go up to Venge,
I see it there.
I think do they have it listed there with the eye?
Venge.
That map might not have. Oh yeah, there is the eye right above Venge.
The eye.
So one of the eyes is there. It's a massive machine. It literally could actually have a picture of it. I have a picture of it.
In one of these pictures?
In one of these slides.
All right, let's take a gander.
Oh, friend. For once, I got prepared right there.
Oh, I fucked up. I made a separate folder.
Morty, I fucked it up.
Morty, this is bad.
All right, technical difficulties. We found the eye. So this is what the eye looks like, my
above
friend.
the nose. Weirdest place for it.
So if you go in there, you can barely see because it's literally a dust storm 24/7.
Nice.
It was just a whirring abomination of destruction. And there's a quote that I want to read from the skeleton creature. If you have a skeleton follower, and they say, "Oh man, I forgot that thing is still here. You can still see it in the distance there. It's still chugging away even now. I remember when it was flying around, wreaking death and destruction everywhere it went. It's safe now, though. Good riddance to it. Shame the other one is still running, though."
What the fuck?
So if you cross Venge to the south, there's a chance you will get hit by a random laser beam from the sky. I have lost a party that way because we all decided to
Just fucking happens.
So what happened is
Then you won't hear anything. It's just like all of a sudden you're just dead.
it's literally just it's just randomized. It will randomly come out.
Okay.
And so what happened was I slept at the bottom of a ruin because I got my ass handed to me by the thralls live over there. They're like skeleton. They're like ruled by a mad skeleton, and they basically make like terrible versions of himself. And that's like one of the main enemies in Venge.
Okay.
That's not really important because I just got my ass handed to them, and I was like, okay, I need to heal up.
Take a knee.
Yeah, exactly. So I got my squad out. We're like, all right, fucking get the camp beds out. Everybody, we're taking a fat nap. We take a fat nap. Laser beam.
We don't wake up.
And we don't wake up. Yeah, and we just died.
That's
so
garbage.
That is how I took an L on that one. So yeah, no, the other one still exists. The other eyeball still exists. And that brings us to the story of Stobe, my friend.
All right.
It's not much of a story, honestly. Like I said, we don't know much about it. But out of all of these skeletons, who do you think would have the most amount of reason to kick humanity's ass?
Out of all? What do you mean out of all of the skeletons?
Yeah.
A Stobe.
Stobe, exactly. Because he literally was there when his brothers were getting
He's
fucking
like the
killed.
last behemoth. Yeah. The behemoths were specifically targeted.
He was the dude that had the most amount of justice and the most amount of logical reasoning to kill humans.
But he didn't.
The
plot thickens.
I know. That's why he's the GOAT, man. That's why Stobe's the GOAT. Instead of killing humans, he actually sacrificed himself to stop the extinction event from taking place.
Wow.
He took down the devices that were
these things.
Not only that,
the thing that caused
the destruction. He was the reason that it stopped.
Wow.
And he saved humanity because Stobe is a fucking G.
I'm humbled.
Yeah. He was like
I'm embarrassed.
I'm humbled and embarrassed at the same time.
We kill all their brothers, and the one dude that survives, what does he do? He saves us.
Does he? Because he's literally a behemoth. He could kill all of us.
No, but instead, he sacrificed himself to save us after we fucked his entire
family name.
Wow. I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he really embarrasses the shit out of us. But not only that, Stobe's sacrifice, it starts a bunch of things. By the way, the Holy Nation worships Okrun, and they are very religious.
No, who is this Acorn dude?
He is the savior of humanity.
No, that's not true. Stobe is.
Who do you think Okrun is?
Stobe. Do they know he's Stobe?
No, it's kept secret because they're racist towards skeletons. So they twisted it as a cult.
What fucking...
To make it seem like, oh no, Okrun, the skeletons are evil. They're all terrible because they tried to kill us. Skeletons tried to kill us.
Gotcha.
So that's why I hate one of the reasons why I hate the Holy Nation.
Yeah, they suck shit.
They are the worst, man. Because not only are they just the terrible people, but they twisted the story so that Stobe wasn't the savior.
They've absolutely... You have two lists. Irredeemable qualities and redeemable qualities. They have nothing on the redeemable qualities.
No, and everything on the
blank, cleanest sheet of paper you've ever fucking seen.
Yep.
Book wasn't even open.
Could eat a meal off of that piece of paper. Yeah, that's actually a fun fact. So for those that have played Kenshi and are just kind of listening to this podcast for the lore, that you guys are probably like, that's crazy. Yeah, because that's true. That's why the Holy Nation
Bullshit.
has hided those ancient texts. They've hid the ancient text because it doesn't serve their narrative to make it that their savior is actually also a skeleton. Instead, they're just like, no, the skeletons were all evil. They tried to kill us all. So that became Narco, which is so they got Okrun, which is the good god, and then Narco, who's the evil woman, evil deity, and she created the skeletons, which are the evil deities.
Is Narco based on somebody real?
No, Narco's just based off of the evilness of the skeletons.
So they just created a deity and then they completely like just warped the image of another deity.
That's all in the Second Empire, because the Holy Nation starts as a cult in the Second Empire. And
the First Empire we had apocalyptic event, and then the Second Empire shows up.
Yeah, and then the fall of the First Empire is when this whole natural disaster happens. It ravishes the earth. Water levels fall down. By the way, the water levels of Kenshi used to be almost was all water. It was like I think they said several hundred meters higher. So like there used to be boats, there used to be pirates, which is why a lot of people are excited for in Kenshi 2 because they're hoping there's going to be pirates.
Mm.
But nowadays, see, it's all
even if there was a cataclysmic event that changed these water levels in between the First and Second Empire, why would there be boats and stuff in the Second Empire? You know what I'm saying?
Well, supposedly this set a chain of events that just was irreversible.
Oh, so it don't all just happen like that? It was just
Stobe prevented it from being a complete extinctual event at the very beginning. But the aftermath of their destruction,
the fallout,
still kind of proved to be a bunch of shit. But I mean, there's still life in Kenshi.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Stobe still accomplished his goal.
Yeah.
But after Stobe, we have right before between the First Empire and the Second Empire, there's something called the Age of Chaos, where basically the Kenshi enters a horrible dark age, where everything turns to shit, everything's horrible, things are a mess, even more so than they naturally are. And the last thing that happens at the end of the fall of the First Empire is, so the skeletons, they're all pissed, right? Humanity killed all their friends.
Sure.
They're like, dude, you gotta die.
Yeah.
You gotta go. So they try and kill humans. Stobe sacrifices himself to save the baby humans. He says, no, these are my boys. I know they tried to kill us, but...
They made some mistakes.
Yeah, they made some mistakes, but I love them, so I'm gonna die. And then the skeletons are like, they saw that they essentially killed Stobe, their friend, and Stobe sacrificed himself for the humans. They kind of took a step back, and were like, what have I done? And they felt incredibly guilty, because they just tried to, extinguish human life.
Yeah.
So eventually,
I know we weren't cool, but that doesn't mean you can be not cool back.
Yeah. So they kind of got riddled with grief, and there supposedly was like a mass suicide of them too. I don't know I have to double check to see if it was directly related to that. But I know that they were all kind of depressed after that. The collapse happened, the chaos happened. A lot of the skeletons kind of the fall of the empire was complete, basically, from this turning inwards on themselves and being like, wait, we're the bad guys actually, because we tried to cause an extinction event. So that's the end of the First Empire and the rise of the Chaos Age, where basically the whole Chaos Age of that was there's virtually nothing known about the Chaos Age other than it existed, and that shit hit the fan, and that skeletons were killing themselves, humans were like almost dead, and then the rise of the Second Empire is revealed once the skeleton. People don't know how long the Age of Chaos kind of timeline happened.
Mm-hmm.
Some people think it was centuries. Some people think it was like over a millennium.
Yeah.
However long it was, eventually down the line, the skeletons were like, wait a second. I know we've been wallowing in grief and killing ourselves and all this shit, but what happens? What if we guided humanity into a new age and we redeemed ourselves by being the guardian angels of humans right now, following Stobe's example? And so that's kind of the birth of the Second Empire, where the skeletons were in charge.
Okay.
With the great Emperor Catelan, who's still alive, by the way, in Kenshi.
Skeleton?
He's still fucking alive, yeah.
He's a skeleton. Right?
He's a skeleton, yeah. Bro did not die. He's insane now, but he's still alive. And he became one of the best emperors of all time until, shit started to hit the fan again, which, it does, I guess, with every empire in Kenshi.
common theme.
Yeah. But that's the end of the First Empire.
Awesome.
You know, you have all that leading up to Stove's great sacrifice. The skeletons to this day in Kenshi do not tell you anything about this event. They don't tell you anything about the First Empire. You have a few civilizations. So if you go to World's End on the map, there's a spot named World's End, which is part of there's a faction called the Tech Hunters,
Okay.
which are like bounty hunters for lost technology.
Okay.
And they all bring all their technology together to a place called World's End, which is on the peak of a mountaintop. Very hard to get to, very annoying. But they got good trade stuff. That faction HQ spot is where a bunch of scientists, Hyver scientists and other scientists in general, are trying to piece together what happened in the ancient days. So in reality, with the Tech Hunters of Kenshi, bringing all their findings to World's End, that's where we get a lot of our knowledge as fans. Because if the skeletons had their way, the fans, nobody would know about that First Empire in the slightest. No one would know about it because they don't want to talk about it. So it's because of these modern day Kenshi scholars that we're kind of able to piece together little bits and baubles about what happened back then, which I think is awesome because it's a true mystery. Because some fantasy settings and some sci-fi settings, they'll like be like, oh, it's lore, but in reality you look up like, what's the lore of this, and it's like instantly you have that gratification. But this, it's literally a true mystery. Like, you have to actively want to know about the lore of
That's
this.
what I'm saying. I think it'd be so cool to, like, if there's shit out there that just has not been discovered yet in the game that, like, connects things. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, man, it's possible.
Well, this has been awesome. We ran through the mechanics of Kenshi. We did a bit of a deep dive into the lore right up until the end of the First Empire, correct?
Very true, yes.
And I think next time we'll be talking more about the Second Empire, furthering of the lore, and maybe...
Which you can still see in Kenshi. A lot of the buildings that you raid, ones you raid, those are from the Second Empire.
So we'll learn about that. Maybe who knows? Maybe we'll do even a little bit of a playthrough.
That would be radical.
But until next time, I'm Tyler Gardner.
And I'm Christian Monte.
And this has been
the RPG